One of life's undeniable truths is that the Earth is constantly rotating on its axis. What you might not know is that it is doing so very fast. For those that aren't already aware, different parts of our planet experience different rotational speeds depending on their geographical location on Earth's surface. We do not perceive Earth's rotation because everything that's attached to the surface of the Earth moves at the same speed as the Earth, thereby making us, who are also attached to the surface, feel that our planet is not moving at all. What do you think will happen if you jump inside a moving bus? Since the bus is moving forward, will the bus floor slip beneath your feet and make you land behind the spot from where you jump? Of course not. You will land in the same spot unless the bus accelerates or slows down during your jump. Similarly, when we jump outside, our motion remains coupled with Earth's rotation, which is why we land in the same spot. Given that our planet does not accelerate, decelerate or change direction during its rotation, it's impossible for us to physically perceive its rotation.
stationary, 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 right?
The surface of water is always level. This is just natural physics. We know this, that water, if unobstructed and uncontained, will flow outwards, finding it the easiest course to maintain its own level, right? So, but the Ball Earth model claims that the oceans are huge 100-mile walls of curved water curving around the ball. That's ridiculous. They say that gravity makes this possible, but you don't see that. You go to the beach and you see a completely flat horizon. You see water just ever so gently coming up on the shore.
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
Wow.
No, here's the difference. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know. We look out in the universe, and 85% of all the gravity that's out there has some mysterious unknown source. We add up all the stars, the galaxies, the planets, the comets, the black holes, the dark clouds, everything out there that we can see, touch, smell, or taste. And it doesn't add up to give us the gravity that we see operating in this universe. So really, we should be calling it the dark force, because we don't know if it's made of matter. It could be a profound misnomer, sending people off in thought directions that might not really be the right path. So dark matter is just simply what we call this thing about which we know nothing, responsible for 85% of the gravity of the cosmos. It is the longest standing unsolved problem in modern astrophysics. Dark matter, dark energy. Everything we know about the universe, what we're made of, galaxies, stars, planets, that's all right here. So according to this chart, we are 96% stupid.
Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
What is wrong with you people? Earth is flat. It is stationary, 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 right?
What are some of the basic observations someone can make to ascertain that the Earth is neither a globe or spinning?
We've been taught that we're on a ball spinning around the sun, and so to hear that you might be on a flat plane, motionless at the center of the universe with all the celestial bodies spinning around you, just as it appears, actually comes as a surprise. But it shouldn't, because our eyes, experience, and common sense all tell us that the horizon is perfectly flat, and we feel motionless. We don't hear ourselves whizzing by at thousands of miles per hour. No matter how high amateur rockets or balloons have gone up, the horizon rises to the eye of the observer all the way up, and that's only consistent with a flat plane. Their theory just gets more and more wild as time has gone on. And so, yeah, it began with the spinning Earth going 1,000 miles per hour, which is then circling around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, which then they decided the sun wasn't a heliocentric model, but more of an acentric model, where they don't know where the center is, and we're just exploding out of a big bang. So the sun, we're spinning around the sun, and then the sun and us are spinning around the Milky Way galaxy, they say, at 500,000 miles per hour. And then the entire Milky Way galaxy, they say, is shooting off from the Big Bang at 670 million miles per hour, almost the speed of light. So there's at least 4 rip-raging, contradictory motions supposedly going at all times, yet you don't experience any of it, nor can you measure any of it using the stars. The flat, motionless Earth, not only is it the greatest conspiracy of all, it's also the easiest to prove. I mean, it just is flat and motionless, just as it appears. Look into it more and more, make it a thing to try and debunk it, if you will. You know, even if you want to do it that way. Negative reinforcement works too. Try as you will, you're only going to find proofs for the flat, motionless Earth. You're not going to confirm that you're on a spinning ball.
Through time-lapse photography, the velocity of these clouds has been dramatically increased. While they were actually drifting over the mountains at approximately 27 miles per hour, they now have the appearance of moving at well over 100, 4 times their normal speed. If the clouds were stationary and the Earth was revolving underneath them, this is how it would appear if the Earth was spinning at 100 miles per hour. Yet we're told that the Earth is spinning at 10 times that speed. Consider this. Those who maintain that the Earth is a globe that spins suggest that people standing at the equator are being whirled around at approximately 1,000 miles an hour. They further maintain that the Earth is spinning around the Sun at a speed of 67,000 miles per hour, and that our Sun is supposedly racing around the center of our galaxy at some 600,000 miles per hour. And yet, you and I both know that on many days it's possible to stand outside without a single hair being messed up by the breeze.
When I first started looking into the idea of a rotating Earth and really thinking about that and applying it to the everyday world I see, one of the first things I thought about were planes flying above. Actually, I couldn't find any type of relativity problem that used planes and a moving Earth. Now, there's tons of relativity problems out there showing trains and cars and other things that are moving on a surface that is assumed to not be moving. But there's nothing that accounts for an Earth moving with the planes. As it spins around its axis on the equator, you divide the circumference by the time it takes to make one revolution, which is 24 hours. And when you do that, you get roughly 1,038 miles per hour. Okay?
I'm on the 19th chapter. All of this has been filled with just excellent information, stuff everyone should know. I mean, this is literally the Bible for flat Earth. You should get this if you're a flat Earth believer or you're someone who's questioning the flat Earth. This is a book you have to have. So I'm going to read straight from chapter 19, and there's a segment talks about centrifugal force, and I've never heard this brought up in the group. So I just want you guys to hear this, okay? This is beautiful. So says the problem with the gravitational theory is that according to that theory, the gravitational attraction to the Earth by all persons and objects remain the same at all places on the Earth. So what he's saying is gravity is the same everywhere on Earth, according to the theory, okay? So assuming that's correct, that means that the gravitational force at the North Pole is the same as the gravitational force at the equator. That poses a very real problem if the Earth is spinning as alleged. Here's why. That is because the centrifugal force decreases every mile towards the North Pole. So think of it like this. You're on a giant merry-go-round, right? But the merry-go-round is a ball. If you're at the equator and the merry-go-round spinning around, there's more centrifugal force than if you're at the North Pole. So that's because the centrifugal force decreases every mile towards the North Pole, where the centrifugal force is ultimately reduced to 0 at the North Pole, because the North Pole is the axis of the alleged spinning Earth. Consequently, the speed of the Earth's spin at those more northern and southern latitudes from the equator would be slower than the speed at the equator.
And so we assume right here that this is the Earth rotating at 1,038 miles per hour. And so what I want to do is look at this atmosphere and look at 3 points and 3 elevations. At this moment, we expect all of these points of air to make one complete revolution and come back to the same spot in 24 hours, right? Because the atmosphere moves with the Earth. The atmosphere never gets left behind. So right off the bat, since we know the velocity is equal to distance divided by time, we can say that VA, the velocity of point A, is greater than the velocity of point B, which is greater than the velocity of point C. Because point A has a longer distance to travel in 24 hours than point B, and point B has a longer distance to C. Hot air rises, as we know, and cool air sinks, right? So how does the air speed up? When it's heated, it rises, but then it has to start moving faster. Now, even if it's only a little bit faster, the difference in these velocities, if you calculate them, isn't much, but they do have to be greater, or they will start to get left behind.
Gravity magically dragged the atmosphere along with the spinning ball Earth, that would mean the atmosphere near the equator would be spinning at over 1,000 miles per hour. The atmosphere over the mid-latitudes would be spinning around 500 miles per hour, and gradually slower to the poles, where the atmosphere would be unaffected at 0 miles per hour. In reality, however, the atmosphere at every point on Earth is equally unaffected by this alleged force, as it has never been measured or calculated and proven non-existent by the ability of airplanes to fly unabated in any direction without experiencing any such atmospheric changes. If gravity magically dragged the atmosphere along with the spinning ball Earth, that would mean the higher the altitude, the faster the spinning atmosphere would have to be turning around the center of rotation. In reality, however, if this were happening, then rain and fireworks would behave entirely differently as they fell down through progressively slower and slower spinning atmosphere. Hot air balloons would also be forced steadily faster eastwards as they ascended through the ever-increasing atmospheric speeds. If there were progressively faster and faster spinning atmosphere the higher the altitude, that would mean it would have to abruptly end at some key altitude where the fastest layer of gravitized spinning atmosphere meets the supposed non-gravitized, non-spinning, non-atmosphere of infinite vacuum space. NASA has never even mentioned what altitude this impossible feat allegedly happens, but it is easily philosophically refuted by the simple fact that vacuums cannot exist connected to non-vacuums while maintaining the properties of a vacuum. Not to mention, the effect such a transition would have on a rocket spaceship would be disastrous.
If you don't know who I am, my name's Nathan Thompson. I started this group, the official Flat Earth and Globe Discussion, and I've been really paying attention to everything that happens in here and all the arguments for globe and against globe and all the arguments for flat earth and against flat earth, and well, all the evidence leads to flat earth. But let's talk about gravity, because gravity is the biggest obstacle I think we have to overcome, because all these globe earthers believe that all objects with mass are attracting other objects with mass. Science is that things rise and fall based on buoyancy and density. That's why raindrops fall and air bubbles in water rise. That's why heavy objects drop and balloons rise, is not because of any magical forces pulling you to ball Earth, but the fact that things fall at a constant rate, 9.8 meters per second. So here's the science behind things rising and falling, guys. 9.8 meters per second is a constant rate of fall. Now, I've never met someone who believes in gravity that understands an inverse square law. Now, what an inverse square law states is that the closer an object gets to Earth, the stronger the gravitational force should be. So, and it's not slightly stronger, we're talking exponentially stronger. So just like Earth's curvature gets exponentially bigger, it's 8 inches the first mile, 32 inches the second mile, and by 3 miles you're looking at 6 feet of curvature. So exponentially stronger. So an object 2 miles away from Earth, once it gets to 1 mile from Earth, it shouldn't be twice as strong, the gravitational force. It should be 4 times as strong, the gravitational. And then you get to a half mile, and you're talking about 8 times stronger than it was at 2 miles. And so things fall at a constant rate. But not just that. They fall, and they continue to fall, and they continue accelerating until they reach terminal velocity. Okay? So explain to me how things are magically attracted to Earth and getting exponentially stronger of a gravitational force if all objects fall at 9.8 meters per second until they reach terminal velocity, then they stop accelerating. And then they just fall at the constant rate. On top of that, you got centrifugal force. So Earth's moving the fastest at the equator, but it slows down as you leave the equator and approach the poles. Allegedly, right? Let's pretend Earth moves, okay? Because I'm going to get to that in a second. So as things leave the equator, the centrifugal force decreases, and objects should get heavier the closer they are to the poles. Nobody witnesses that. 5-pound weights are 5 pounds at the equator. They're 5 pounds at the Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer. They're 5 pounds at the Arctic Circle and the Antarctic Circle. No one's ever measured 5-pound weight weighing more or less because of gravity and centrifugal force. So on top of that, mass attracting mass has never been proven. So this idea that everything is magically attracted to everything else is preposterous. It's insane. It's never been proven. And on top of that, these globers believe it's bending space-time. So they think this magical force that's never been proven is magically bending space, which, let me reiterate, is a vacuum of nothing. So, I mean, this is all air right here, right? There's actually molecules here in the air, right? Imagine trying to bend air. Not happening. Bending space-time, which is nothing, even more preposterous. But we got to get over this gravity because Earth doesn't move. Earth's never been proven to move. No Coriolis. Airplanes aren't accounting for Earth's movement according to the Federal Airline Administration. Snipers don't account for it. I know plenty of snipers. We have a ton in the group. Nobody's accounting for Coriolis. And then on top of that, you got all the scientific experiments that have been done, and every scientific experiment to prove Earth's movement has failed. So you've got the Michelson-Morley experiment, Michelson-Gale, you've got the Sagnac experiment, and you've got the Aries failure, where stars don't have parallax. And then on top of all of that, preponderance of evidence, you're looking at a stationary North Star and constellations that never change. So how anyone can think, if they're honest with themselves, that Earth moves, or that all objects with mass are magically attracted to all other objects, or that things fall at a increased speed because of gravity, it's all vain religious superstition. Gravity is a false god, and God is just another word for guide. So if you think gravity's hurling you 66,000 miles an hour around the sun, and gravity's keeping you contained to a spinning ball Earth, spinning faster than the speed of sound around the equator, you are disconnected from reality. Now, the definition of the word insane means inability to perceive reality. So I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but textbook definition of the word insane means everyone who thinks they're on a spinning ball, insane. Everyone who believes in gravity, insane. Everyone who believes in outer space and other planets, insane, okay? What we have is a new world order coming to a city near you. They're just not public yet. United Nations, united against us, united against the people, united against civilians, united against the truth seekers. That's scientifically how preposterous gravity is. Yeah, so I broke it down, guys. Centrifugal force debunks gravity. 9.8 meters per second debunks gravity. Terminal velocity debunks gravity. Earth's movement has never been proven. Debunks gravity. Mass has never been proven to attract mass. Debunks gravity. I mean, why are adults still talking about this G word? It's so goofy. So I just want to do a quick video on it so that you guys can be better equipped to explain to these people that bring up gravity how vain and how religious their beliefs are. It's backed by zero science. I just had to talk to you guys about gravity, and I'm going to keep working on all the evidence that disproves gravity. One of the most important things you can do is memorize 1,000,000 proofs for flat water, okay? So when you talk about water being flat, don't just tell people water's flat. Mention the geographic range table from the US Coast Guard. Mention lighthouses and how visibility of distant objects debunks globe Earth curvature. Mention how frozen lakes have no curvature. Mention the Pic des Aries, the world record photo. For 275 miles away, they photographed an island. There's tons of sight distances proof. Catalina Island from Santa Monica, San Clemente Island, which is where I'm from, Orange County, the Statue of Liberty, the Chicago horizon. The horizon's always flat and rises to eye level. Boats don't disappear behind a curvature. Just zoom in on the boat, it's still there. So what I'm saying is, get all your proofs in a row. And once you got all your proofs in a row, then you can explain to people, hey, I don't just have one proof that water's level. I got 20 proofs. I got 15 proofs. I got 10 proofs. Whatever you can fit in here, get them in a row. So same thing with gravity. Centrifugal force, 9.8 meters per second, terminal velocity, stationary North Star, airplanes aren't accounting for gravity. Or they actually admit in the FAA website that they don't account for a gravity vector. I'm going to sign off. Much love. It's an honor being here.
Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.